Priya up and carried her, all four of us following the man through the woods. Eventually, the trees thinned and we stepped into a clearing that stopped us cold. A large stone mansion sat in front of us, 2 stories tall, ivy crawling up the sides, clearly maintained and lived in. That should have been a relief, but my stomach churned the second I laid eyes on it. Bear traps sat along the perimeter. A side workshop was visible with racks of weapons on the walls and a metal table with stains I decided not to think about. The man disappeared inside and came back carrying a tray of bread, dried meat, and canteens of water. He set it in front of us as we settled on his front porch. Priya and Hilton grabbed at the food like they hadn't eaten in days. Molly reached for the bread, but only ate half. I took a small piece and held it, not ready to trust a stranger's food. The man gave us a tour of the downstairs like we were welcomed guests. Bookshelves and a fireplace in the sitting room. Dozens of mounted animal heads hung above the mantel. He talked as he walked. The foundation was laid generations ago by my great-great-great-grandfather. I stepped in front of him to block his path. Forgive me for interrupting, but where is this place? He leaned his head back and forced a laugh. Why? My mansion, of course. No, I mean, where are we? Are we still in America? Is this an island? He leaned his head back and laughed again, then turned and walked so briskly down the hallway I had to jog to keep up. I grabbed a kitchen knife from the kitchen counter as we passed through and slipped it into my waistband without breaking stride. Upstairs, I noticed heavy deadbolts on every single door. Along the hallway walls were deep scratch marks and gouges, like someone had dragged their nails across the wood. I ran my fingers over one of the marks and felt a human fingernail embedded in the wood. I took a step back as fear welled up inside. Everything all right? I turned toward the man's sudden voice and saw he was watching me intently. Molly stared at me, worried. I forced a smile. Yes, of course. He led us further down the hall past a closet where the door was cracked open. Molly asked him, "Hey, did a man and woman happen to come by here recently? We're missing some members of our group." The second the man turned to glare at Molly, I used that chance to lean into the closet and saw shoes. Dozens of pairs, all different sizes, different styles, none of them matching the man who owned this mansion. He appeared in front of me and snapped the door shut so hard the frame rattled. His smile didn't drop, but his eyes squinted deeply. "I don't like snoops," I blurted out, "Sorry," as he grumbled and walked away. We settled on the porch and watched the sun setting. I spotted a small dock, but no boat. I snapped my head toward the man, who now had a rifle in his lap. "The worst thing you can do is stay here." Molly and I sat up straight. Hilton and Priya were sagging in their chairs, struggling to keep their eyes open. "And the worst thing you can do is run the other direction." He looked at me, "But the smart ones go sideways." Then he leaned his head back and laughed. I didn't understand him, and understood even less as Molly grabbed my arm. He was sweating and struggling to sit up. Hilton doubled over and Priya crumpled to the ground. My vision blurred at the edges. The trees beyond us doubled, tripled, then fractured into dozens of copies. "You poisoned us. The food or the water?" He grinned. "All of it, honey." He leaned back and laughed, louder this time. I pressed my hands against my skull. Molly tightened his grip on my arm. "Run. Now." I grabbed Hilton's shirt and dragged him with me as I ran into the woods. Behind us, Molly was practically dragging Priya. The man just kept leaning back and laughing. The ground tilted sideways. I stumbled through the forest with Molly's hand on my shoulder as he carried Priya. "I can't see. Hilton, are you still with us?" Hilton groaned. "Do we know where we're going if we can't see?" I pressed my palm flat against tree bark to feel for the moss, orienting north by touch. I tapped Molly's hand. "We need to crawl. There are traps everywhere on this side." We got on all fours. A gunshot cracked through the trees and birds scattered above us. The old man's laughter followed. "Where are you, my precious prey?" I crawled faster. The first snare I found by touch was a braided cable rigged at head height. I guided everyone under it. 50 paces later, my hand punched through a leaf-covered pit trap. I yanked it back and redirected us around. Molly whistled. "What the hell? This whole forest was engineered against us," I whispered. "He must have been building this for years." Molly squeezed my hand. "You're the reason we're still alive. You know that, right?" I didn't answer because I was counting steps. We found a stream 20 minutes in. I dropped to my stomach and shoved my fingers down my throat. This is gonna suck. Everything came up. Molly and Hilton did the same beside me. We rinsed our mouths with stream water. I looked back at Priya. I need help with her. With Molly's help, we forced Priya to throw up as well. I gently fed her some water as she sat against a tree, barely conscious. Hilton was on his back, staring at the sky with glazed, unfocused eyes. I walked over to Molly. They ate too much. It's going to take them longer. Molly nodded. I'll keep watch. Within minutes, my vision cleared and the world stopped multiplying. Suddenly, a gunshot cracked. Birds scattered. Priya screamed. Molly clamped his hand over her mouth. Don't. He'll hear you. We pulled them up and ran, or tried to. Molly had sweated through his shirt and started dragging his feet. Priya still couldn't walk on her own. Molly slapped himself, threw her arm over his shoulder, and half carried her. I led and Hilton stumbled behind us. A second gunshot, closer. Priya jerked out of Molly's grip, hit the ground, and crawled behind a fallen log with her head covered. I wiped the sweat from my forehead. Please, Priya, we have to keep moving. A third shot cracked, and I felt wood splinter against my leg. Pain sparked up through my veins as Molly tackled me to the ground. Priya ran, crashing through bushes. Molly scrambled up to go after her, but I grabbed his arm. You can't. You won't make it. His face broke. I could see him fighting with himself as another shot echoed. Priya's scream cut through the forest. Another shot. Her screams stopped. Molly pressed his forehead against the ground. He lifted his head. His eyes were red and wet. We need to keep moving. Hilton's face was blank. He nodded and walked ahead of us. I walked in the rear so they wouldn't notice my limp. The weak get dropped first. I watched Hilton walk with his fists clenched and his teeth grinding. Molly fell into step beside me and dropped his voice. He's spiraling. I've seen it before with my sister. She shut down like that after witnessing our dad's death. He needs to talk, or his mind is going to crack. I glanced forward. Hilton's eyes were darting between the trees, and then he spun in a full circle. We'll keep an eye on him. Then we found a sheltered spot between two large rocks and tried to rest. Molly sat close enough that I could feel the warmth coming off his arm. That's when he noticed my leg was still bleeding. Holy sh! Why didn't you tell me you got injured? I rolled my eyes. It's just wood chips from earlier when Priya... I swallowed. Molly unceremoniously grabbed my leg and put it on his lap, beginning to pluck out the splinters. Tell me something normal, he said. Anything. What do you do for work? I sighed. I manage a small state park. He kept his eyes on my leg but raised his eyebrows. So you do this for a living? He gestured around us. I jabbed him with my elbow. Well, doesn't it interest you that we're all specially qualified for surviving this island? Hilton said as he walked over and handed Molly a cloth he'd torn. We've got Nature Girl here. Priya was a summer camp counselor and I'm a wildlife technician. Molly smiled, taking the makeshift bandage. Hey, I don't have any special job, man. Hilton gestured at Molly's enormous muscles. Yeah, I wonder what you'd be good for. I leaned my head back against the rock. If you're a wildlife technician, why haven't you disarmed any of the traps? Hilton groaned. 'Cause it's useless. Too many of them. Better to just avoid. Molly finished wrapping the cloth around my leg. Your mind is amazing. I looked at him in shock. The moonlight caught his face and he was staring at me. I blushed so hard I turned away. A few minutes later, Hilton started muttering to himself, I'll be ready, I'll be ready, I'll be ready. Molly and I exchanged a look. When I woke up, Hilton was gone. Molly was already awake, studying the ground. He looked up. He's been gone for hours. We kept moving, following Hilton's footprints to a tree line on the opposite end of the island. What I saw stopped me mid-stride. A small cottage sat in the clearing near the water. Bright white exterior walls, flower boxes under the sills with wildflowers blooming, a clothesline full of sheets flowing with the breeze. I rubbed my eyes. Do you see this too? It looks like a painting, Molly said. The visual opposite of the mansion. We stepped closer, but I grabbed his arm when I saw a woman step out. She looked relieved, crying, and out of breath. Thank God, she said, rushing toward us. I thought he got everyone. She led us into the kitchen. Her hands wouldn't stop trembling as she poured water. I've been trapped on this island for months. The man was my captor as well, but I fought him with every bit of strength I had. I didn't fall for his poisoned food. Molly admitted, I did have some bread, but I threw it up. She beamed at him. Good boy. Very smart. I narrowed my eyes as Molly beamed back. Why doesn't the man come here and simply kill us? She patted my leg, causing me to jump. Don't worry, honey. He's too much of a coward to cross to this side. Years ago, his wife died in this cottage, and ever since he's been superstitious about the ground. She set a warm bowl of soup and fresh bread in front of us. My stomach grumbled, but I raised an eyebrow. Didn't you just tell us about poisoned food? She looked at me with pity. Then she took my spoon and shoveled some of the soup into her mouth. She grimaced. Ugh, too much salt. Maybe I was trying to poison you. She smirked and pushed the bowl back. I palmed the bread into my jacket pocket and let the soup go cold. Molly caught my eye and did the same. She led us to separate bedrooms. Mine had clean sheets, a glass of water on the nightstand, and a window. The door locks from the inside, she said. You're perfectly safe. She demonstrated the lock and left with Molly down the hall. I locked the door, then checked the window. It opened wide enough to fit through. I collapsed onto the bed and was asleep in seconds. The dream came fast. I was a little girl again, maybe 6 or 7, sitting at the base of a tree with a skinned knee. My mother was walking toward me across the yard carrying a first aid kit. I was sobbing. Mommy, please hurry. It hurts so much. I fell out of the tree, but my mother slowed her pace. The more I cried, the slower she walked. It was only when I stopped crying and said, Mom, I need help. Can you please come here? That she finally knelt down beside me and opened the kit. She cleaned my knee and hummed. I closed my eyes, feeling the breeze blow my hair. She grabbed my chin tightly in her hands and said, No one will ever come to help you if you beg, honeybee. Fix the problem yourself or give someone a very good reason to help you. Remember that. So if someone ever messes with you, you know how to sting them back when the time is right. She jabbed her finger into my side, making me giggle. I woke up as the morning sun lit up the room. When I reached for the door handle, it didn't move. I pulled, but the lock mechanism had been flipped from the outside. I spun toward the window. Metal bars blocked my view. I grabbed them and pulled. They didn't budge. Panic rose in my chest, and I doubled over trying to breathe. From somewhere down the hallway, I heard humming. I searched the room, pulling open the nightstand drawer. Inside was a journal filled with page after page of small, neat tally marks. One page had a crude hand-drawn map of the island split 70-30, with a line dividing it. Oh my God, I whispered. There were so many shoes. Tears welled in my eyes. Each tally mark is a person. I closed the journal and tucked it into my waistband, then dropped to the floor to search under the bed. I screamed with all my strength, suddenly face to face with the woman who'd left our group at the very beginning. Her vacant, dead eyes stared back at me. The door opened and the woman walked in with a hand on her hip, like she was scolding a child. I swung at her and she caught my wrist and twisted it behind my back with ease. A needle punched into my neck. The room went soft at the edges. Not a full blackout, just enough to make my muscles stop cooperating. She dropped me into the desk chair and tied me up. Then she stood in front of me and pulled a pistol from her waistband. I like explaining the rules to everyone. It's much more fun that way. I spat at her feet. She slammed the pistol into my temple. Now that's not very ladylike. I screamed in pain. Neither is killing people, you old hag. She tied a cloth around my mouth. You must let me explain my story, or this won't be as much fun. She stepped back and grinned.